Are you thinking about moving to or living in Vancouver, BC? Well, this might just be the last video that you're ever gonna watch, because today we are looking at one of the, if not the most popular, the most highly sought after suburb of Vancouver, which is Burnaby, BC. Now, Burnaby is known to be one of the most central location, one of the most combinations of urbanization and suburb living that you're gonna find here in Vancouver. And in this video, we're gonna be breaking down absolutely everything you need to know, including all the best neighborhoods, as well as areas that you definitely want to stay away from, where crime rates are higher, where it's run down, and you just don't want to make the mistake of moving to the wrong neighborhood. Now, make sure you stay all the way through to the end of this video, because we're gonna be covering every little street, all the little neighborhoods that you may not even have heard of. And we're also gonna be uncovering some special things, some up and coming master plan communities, big changes that are happening in certain areas that you definitely want to know before making the move. So now, without further ado, let's jump right in and get into this video. Here we go. All right, we're gonna jump on the map. This is an exciting one, so let's not waste any time and let's get straight into it. So first off, we're gonna look at the location of Burnaby. Like I mentioned, it is the most centralized suburb here in Vancouver, and you're gonna see just why that's the case. So zoomed out a little bit, as you can see, Vancouver, which is on the very west end here of Metro Vancouver. And then if you look on this screen right now, on the east end, you have Coquitlam, you have Pitt Meadows, and then on kind of the east-south side, you have Surrey. If you go lower down, there's Richmond down there. Further up north, there's North Vancouver, and then West Vancouver as well. So just from zooming out and looking at this map, you can see that within the most common areas of Metro Vancouver, Burnaby is smack down in the middle, which is why it's such a desirable location for a lot of people. They want to be in an area that might not be like downtown Vancouver, where it's always super busy and honestly sometimes a bit messy. They want to be somewhere in the suburbs where there is still urbanization. There's a lot of convenient areas, there are buildings and infrastructure, but you're also getting that nature, the mountains, the parks, stuff like that. And Burnaby gives a combination of both of those. And we're going to be breaking down different areas where you might get a bit more of one or the other, or a combination of the two. And to start things off, we're going to start off on the northern side, on the east side of the northern side, and then move our way to the west side of the northern side, and then we're gonna move on to the other areas. So the way I see it, and the way a lot of people break down Burnaby, it's that it's broken down into three sections, which include Burnaby North, Burnaby South, and Burnaby East. So Burnaby North pretty much covers, in simplest terms, the northern side of Highway 1. So if we look at Highway 1, which runs from all the way the other side of the bridge from North and West Vancouver, all the way through Vancouver, Burnaby, into the Tri-Cities, which includes Coquitlam and stuff, all the way through into the Fraser Valley. If you just look at what's above that on this map, this can be considered the northern side. And then the southern side, which is broken down kind of into two parts. This is Burnaby South, and then this section here is Burnaby East. We're gonna get into all that in a second, but let's start right up here in Burnaby North. So the first thing we're gonna look at is Simon Fraser University. So that's this section right up here. And you can't tell from looking at the map, of course, but this is pretty high up in the mountains. So the way that Burnaby is, it is a mountain, and when you're on the northern side, you're higher up and you get some impeccable views of the North Shore Mountains. Depending on which side you're facing, you can also look into the Tri-Cities, the Fraser Valley, and just some of the best views that you're gonna get out here. Simon Fraser University, this is of course a university here. And as you can see from looking at this map, just look at the amount of trees that is in this area. So this is kind of an isolated area. There are just a few roads that you can take that are very steep uphill to get into this area. This is of course where the university is, but there are also a good amount of living options here. So you have different condo options, you have different townhouse options, you have detached options. And what a lot of people will find in college towns is that it's filled with students, always partying, always loud, noisy. But the thing with Simon Fraser University is that yes, a lot of students do live here, but there are also a lot of residents that live here, whether it's professors, teachers of the school, or just people that enjoy being up in the mountain in this area because you do get some amazing views from up here. So you're not living in an area of only college town vibes, even though this is very close to the university. And you have a lot of your daily amenities and needs up here as well. Overall, I would say the biggest draw of living up in Simon Fraser University is without a doubt the views. You're getting a higher ground view of everything from up there looking down into the whole Metro Vancouver in its entirety. But one thing to note is that Simon Fraser University, this area here, a lot of places are on leasehold. So what that means is that technically the city of Burnaby, they have the right to this land. So depending on if it's a 10-20 year lease that's left or if it's a 100-year lease, there are some of pros and cons there, but generally speaking, with a leasehold, you will be able to get a bit more bang for your buck. So prices will be a little bit more affordable compared to regular standard freehold. But there also are some cons in terms of your financing if the leasehold is too short, or in terms of appreciation, leaseholds tend to appreciate a little bit less than freeholds. So now moving on, we're gonna cover this street right here, which this is Barnett Highway and it leads into Hastings. So this is probably the most popular street in North Burnaby if we exclude Highway 1. And the reason for that is it is the in and out of Burnaby from other areas of Metro Vancouver. So Barnett Highway will take you in and out of Burnaby into Port Moody. So Port Moody is just to the east over here. And we made a whole video covering everything about Port Moody, which is an amazing suburb that you should check out as well. Pretty different to Burnaby in a lot of sense. So make sure you check that out if you want to learn about that. But from Burnaby, you go on Barnett Highway, that takes you right along the water here. This is the Burrard Inlet. So you get some very nice views here. It's peaceful, it's quiet, not as congested as Highway 1. So a lot of people do prefer taking this route. And then once you get into Hastings, this is Burnaby, and Hastings goes all the way through into downtown Vancouver. So if you want to go from Burnaby into Vancouver, you can either take the highway or you can take Hastings, and vice versa as well. Going into Burnaby, Hastings is a popular road. And so zooming in, if we take a look at the other side of North Burnaby here, there are a few pretty nice areas. So Capitol Hill here, this is a pretty desirable location. It's a quiet neighborhood where you have a lot of this is all residential area. You have a lot of single family homes, and same thing with Burnaby Heights over here. And the great thing about these two areas, even more specifically Burnaby Heights, is that you're super convenient. Burnaby is already a very central location, as you could see and as we talked about. But when you're in the Burnaby Heights area, you are home to a lot of different restaurants right on Hastings, and specifically there's a lot of Italian food. So whether that's delis, whether that's Italian restaurants where you get some actual Italians making your pasta, that is what you're gonna get in Burnaby Heights. And of course, Highway 1 is literally right there. So your in and out of Burnaby is that much easier. And so if we change over to this view, this is a good view to look at. We're not gonna cover Vancouver obviously today, but we are going to mention this because it's just off the border, right beside Burnaby. And this is PNE. So this is a Playland amusement park. There's some roller coasters here, and there is also a football soccer field located right there where sometimes they have games and stuff. So in terms of entertainment, just want to point that out so you know there's something very close by of that sort. Hey, real quick, we got a special gift for you. We've made a comprehensive relocation guide to Metro Vancouver that'll give you answers on where you should be looking, all in a single document. You'll find top cities and suburbs here and which one would be the best fit for you. You'll also immediately find information on the schools in each area. You'll find information about local attractions, shopping, dining, and lastly, a list of the highest potential markets where there is massive growth potential. And you can find all this by just following the link down below. And as always, feel free to reach out with any questions or concerns. I'm here to be of service for any of you. I get people reaching out to me all the time about helping them with their move. So go ahead and reach out to me. We'll get the ball rolling and make sure you are more than well taken care of. Now, let's get right back into the video. And then as you can see on the map here, you see a few schools. There's elementary school right here. There's another secondary school right here. So Burnaby, one thing I want to note is that if you're looking for great schools in Metro Vancouver, Burnaby is ranked A in terms of its school district and their school system. So it's as good as it's going to get here. It's far above the national average and it's above the provincial average. And so Burnaby is known to have some of the best schools in the area. And then also one thing to note, as you can see all this greenery over here, this is home, Burnaby in general, but right here it's home to a lot of trails where you can go hiking, you can go mountain biking, all these trails that if you are an outdoorsy type of person, it's super close to you if you're somewhere in Burnaby Heights and Capitol Hill where you can just in your backyard, find a trail, go on a hike, breathe in some fresh air. And a lot of people in Vancouver, that's what they love. The summer months, they love being outside, enjoying the beautiful weather. And so this is ultra convenient for that as well. So we're gonna cover a little bit more about Burnaby North Secondary School area because this is a nice little area where it's pretty centralized in terms of being in Burnaby North and you have a lot of outdoor amenities. We're not gonna switch over views because just from this you can see there's a baseball field, there's a track and field, there's another baseball field, there's pitch and putt going all around here, and there are tennis courts. So in terms of outdoor activities, you got the trails up there, and right over here beside Burnaby North Secondary School, you have all your other amenities. That's just the great thing about Metro Vancouver in general, but also Burnaby. You have a lot of urbanization, you have buildings, towers, as we're gonna get into. You also have your neighborhoods and all these convenient locations where you don't have to worry about getting bored and not having things to do or having to drive a long way to find outdoor activities. Now, if we zoom out a little bit more, we're going to get into more of the busier areas of Burnaby. So there are two places I want to cover. Number one is Lougheed and then Brentwood. So we're going to start with Lougheed because it's more on the eastern side. And Burquitlam is at the cross section of Coquitlam and Burnaby. That's why if you combine the name, it's Burquitlam. This is an up and coming area. I went very in depth into this and I have videos about Burquitlam, so I'll link it somewhere for you to check out. But that is a great place, an up and coming place that's going through massive changes, and it's gonna be real nice. You're still pretty high up in terms of being on a mountain. You get some crazy good views. Yes, you're a little bit further away from Vancouver, but you're super close to getting onto Highway 1. We're not gonna get too much into that because I covered that in the Coquitlam video, but we are going to talk about Lougheed. So if we take a look and zoom in over here, this is Lougheed Mall, and this is a great place for entertainment, just like many other places in Burnaby. And Lougheed Mall has been around for a long time, but they have renovated, they have added stuff, taken stuff away. So now it looks super nice again. The food court is completely redone, and this is your traditional indoor mall. I think it's 2 levels, and you have your, like we said, food court. You have all the stores and shopping that you can think of. In the winter months especially, a lot of people, they can't do too much outside except for snow and ski. So when you're bored, you don't want to be home, this is a great place to go do your shopping. And it's also just convenient. If you live in the area, you can do your grocery shopping, you have your pet stuff over here, you got food, and yeah, it's right beside a quiet neighborhood as well. That's one thing to know. But another thing is in this Cameron area, some of the houses here are a bit older in age, and all throughout kind of this area over here, you get more of that older detached home and townhouses as well, but they are of older age. Are they going to redevelop? Probably. When that's going to be, who knows? But that's one area that I wanted to mention to you guys. And then as you take Lougheed Highway further down, you keep going, then you get to Brentwood. And Brentwood is, if I were to put one location that summarizes or that's most popular in North Burnaby North, it would be Brentwood. And that is because of all the up and coming changes and changes that have already been made to this area. 10, 20 years ago, it used to be a suburb, very much so like a lot of the other suburbs further east, and not much was going on here. There weren't all these high rises and all these shopping malls and everything. But in recent years, specifically this Brentwood area, they went through massive changes, and the center piece of it all is this right over here. It's the amazing Brentwood. So if we change the view over here, you can see the name that pops up right in this space, Amazing Brentwood. And this is a mixed use development that literally has everything. So they have residential towers, they have shopping, much like Lougheed Mall, but this is a newer version. They have restaurants, they have food court. So if you want to habitate somewhere where you don't have to travel for anything, then the amazing Brentwood would be amazing for that. Because if you live in one of the buildings, I'm gonna roll some pictures, some videos so you can see. The buildings are literally right inside this development. If you go down the elevators, take a few steps out, you're right into the mall. So you can do your grocery shopping, you can do your regular shopping, you can go to the food court, go to restaurants to eat, and also to cherry on top, there is a SkyTrain station right over there, and that's Brentwood Town Center. So literally, if you don't own a car, you don't want to own a car, whichever one it is, you can live in this area and you don't need a car to be able to thrive. Because first of all, you got everything over here. You have rec room as well, have all your entertainment, definitely have different salons. And if you want to go elsewhere, it's another 10 steps and you're on the SkyTrain, which that'll take you this way to Vancouver or that way to other areas like Coquitlam and stuff. So this is super ideal for a lot of younger adults who they want that convenience. They want that more of a downtown lifestyle without being downtown. And the great thing about the Brentwood area is the fact that it's growing so much. Right across the street, this whole area is being redeveloped, and it's going to be a master plan community, like we mentioned, one of the ones that I want to talk to you about, and that is Brentwood Grove. I'll roll some clips for you so you can see, but it is a multi-phase master plan community that's going to have a ton of towers, amenities, retail and commercial space. So very much like the amazing Brentwood, this is going to be in a way an extension of that. So this whole area is going to be filled with a ton of high rises, and yeah, it's going to be home for a lot of people. A ton of people are interested in this area, and I got clients that really just want to zone in on Brentwood. When I ask them, are you looking anywhere else? Some of them, they literally just want to look at Brentwood, and I understand why, because it is such a highly desirable and convenient area. So now that we covered this master plan community, make sure you stick around and stay until later in this video, because we have another master plan community on the south side of Burnaby that's going to transform the area that you don't want to miss. So make sure you stick around for that. And you know, if you are interested in any of these areas like Brentwood that I'm covering, or any of the other areas in North Burnaby and Burnaby, or just across Metro Vancouver, we know all the streets here, we know all the neighborhoods. Make sure you don't hesitate to reach out for us. We would love to offer you the guidance and the service, and helping you find the best place to move to in Metro Vancouver, and also where you should stay away from, because the last thing you want to do is move somewhere that you're not super familiar with and be stuck in a neighborhood that a year down the line, or even less, couple months down the line, you regret. So make sure you reach out to us so we can help you out in any regards that we can. So now that about covers most of North Burnaby that I want to talk to you about. If we literally dive into all the little bits and pieces, this video is going to be 5 hours long, but we're not going to do that. I'm just going to leave you at this and let you see all the convenient locations and places you can have right in this Brentwood area. You have Whole Foods here, you have Costco, you have the Keg, and just in this whole area, you won't not find anything that you're looking for. Then this area here, there's some industrial, commercial stuff going on, so maybe it could get a little bit noisy. There's a train going all the way through, but generally speaking, that is normally in its own area. So if you're in the Brentwood, a little bit, even just a block, 2 blocks down, that's not really going to be an issue. So now, if you take Willingdon, and this is Highway 1 over here, if you cross Willingdon all the way through, that's going to take you into Burnaby South, which is the next place we're going to talk about. And Burnaby South, there are a few key areas. We're going to really focus on this BCIT area, Metrotown, and then a bit on the Deer Lake area. But let's start off with Metrotown, which is by far the most popular and well-known area in Burnaby South. Now, Metrotown is just an absolute hub for entertainment, for dining. It is the hub, the downtown area of Burnaby before Brentwood became a thing. And Metropolis, which is right over here, this is a gigantic mall, one of the largest in BC and probably Canada, if I remember correctly. And this has everything you need. It has theaters. I'm not gonna start naming all the little things like I did up there, but whatever you can think of in terms of shopping and entertainment, you can find over here. If you just look at the size of this, it looks like you got 3 or 4 malls stuck together, and that's because you really do. You got your TNT, your Walmart, every big chain that you can think of is probably there. If you spend a whole day looking around shopping, you probably still wouldn't be able to get through the whole metropolis. This street, Kingsway, they have a ton of dining restaurants. They have a lot of Asian food predominantly, but also Indian and other cultural foods as well. So if you're looking for food, you don't know what to get, just drive on over to Metrotown, and I guarantee you'll have too many options for you to even decide. And so this is a very urbanized place. I'm gonna change the view. There are a ton of towers in this Metrotown area. But the great thing about Metrotown is if you just go a few minutes out, then all of a sudden you feel like you're in a suburb, because all these little neighborhoods over here, they're by parks, they have their own neighborhood community sections, and there's single family homes all throughout this area. So if you don't want to be in the buzz all the time, in the busyness, but you do want to be close to it so you can enjoy the entertainment, the amenities without driving too far, then all of these surrounding areas very close to Metrotown can be very ideal for you. And also you get a great mix, because you get all the busyness stuff over here, but if you take a step to the left, this is Central Park. And no, not the Central Park like New York, much smaller, but it's still absolutely massive. I don't know the actual size in hectares and stuff, but they have a ton of stuff you can do. Very much like what we covered on the northern side, where you have trails, and then looking at the secondary school where you have all your sport amenities. Central Park is very similar and offers similar things. So all this greenery right over here, you have trails and stuff. You can go on picnics, and you can see this is a stadium. You got your baseball, you got tennis courts, you have pitch and putt. Where's pitch and putt? Down here. And so this area is just great for if you want to enjoy that outdoor space. What residents love the most about Metrotown has to be the fact that you can get any type of entertainment you want within arm's reach. Like we said, Metropolis and all your dining, there's another Crystal Mall down there. We're not going to get into that, but you have that over there on the right side, and then to the left you have Central Park. Now, there is an area that I want you guys to be aware of, and it's not like it's a horrible area or something like that, but Boundary and Kingsway, very right off of Central Park, this area feels a little bit more run down. There are some older buildings that look like they're not getting too much care, too much love and care. This is something that I just want to point out in case, you know, you want to live in a neighborhood that it's nice, and you may think that this is super convenient, but if you're somewhere close to here, sometimes you are in a little bit of a more rundown neighborhood to say. That's all I want to point out in terms of that. And also in terms of crime, Metrotown does have a bit of a higher crime rating in terms of Burnaby. Burnaby in general, Metro Vancouver in general, especially the suburbs, are very safe areas to live in. All the neighborhoods, generally speaking, are very quiet, very safe. But Metrotown, because of all the buzz, they do have a bit of history with gang, with theft, and stuff like that. So that's just one thing to note. Just so you know, if you do fall in love with this area, but maybe you have kids and that's one of your priorities, one of your worries, I just want to mention that so you guys are aware. Now, if we change views again and we get down to the South Slope, Marine Way, Fraser Way area. So now South Slope, this area here close to Marine Drive, it's a bit of a combination. It is a nice residential area. A lot of families will enjoy this because you do have a lot of nice schools around and you get that neighborhood vibe. But there are a few areas where, similar to what we were talking about in terms of Boundary and Kingsway, they do have more industrial stuff going on here. What looks like a few abandoned places, abandoned buildings. Again, that just goes to say that if you are looking for a neighborhood that's newer, that's nice, that's something you care about, then this is something that you should know. But other than that, like we said, these areas are nice in the sense that you get that neighborhood vibe without actually being far away from all your daily needs and amenities. One thing I forgot to mention about Burnaby South and Metrotown is, again, it's transit. So transit in Burnaby in general, it's very convenient, but Metrotown, over here you have quite a few stations, so wherever you live, you're not going to be too far from a SkyTrain station. So you got Royal Oak over here, and then if you obviously take that west, you go to Metrotown station, and then you go into Patterson and all the way into Vancouver. So it's just a great place, again, similar to the Brentwood area up in Burnaby North. If you want to get elsewhere, you can survive here without a car, because if you want to get elsewhere, you have transit super close that'll take you, similar to Brentwood, it could take you either way, and you can get to Vancouver in probably like 10-15 minutes. So now if we go even further south, now we're getting into Marine Way, Fraser Way, close to Richmond area. And this area there's not much residential living in this area. Right over here you have a nice golf course. I actually played this one and I enjoyed it a lot. It's a great 18-hole course, so if you guys like golf, make sure you check that one out. But behind that, once you get onto Fraser, this is where you have gigantic industrial spaces. If we change the view, maybe you can see, but Amazon warehouse is down here somewhere. I don't know exactly the location, but it is absolutely massive. And all along Fraser over here, as you can see, these are all industrial spaces. And probably because you are close to the Fraser River and you can import and export a little bit easier, but yeah, not too much living going on here. So if we zoom out and go a little bit further east, once you get onto Byron Road and stuff, you do get into more of that living. This plaza right over here, this would be the convenient plaza for this Big Bend area. And right in there, you have your markets, you have your supermarkets, you have restaurants like Cactus Club, you have Canadian Tire, like we said, Save on Food, Starbucks. So again, this is a convenient location that has your daily amenities and needs. Further up north over here, that's getting into Edmonds, which is we're going to cover in just a second. You're getting into Burnaby East. But we're going to note that you can also take Marine Way right into New Westminster and across to Richmond. So now, before we get into Burnaby East, like we were saying, there's a master plan community, which we're gonna get to in a second. It's gonna absolutely revolutionize and change this area, but we're gonna get to that right after we talk about Deer Lake Park. So this is a great neighborhood, great community if you want to be a little bit further away from the buzz, like Metrotown, like Brentwood. And this area here, this is where you have your neighborhood residential living, and it's a paradise for families because it's quiet. You get your quiet streets and you are super close to Deer Lake, which is absolutely a beautiful area. I'll roll some pictures out for you, but much like you're learning and like we're covering so much in this video, Metro Vancouver in general just has a ton of greenery, a lot of outdoor space, a lot of parks for you to enjoy. And Deer Lake Park is one of those amazing spots. In this lake, you can go kayaking, take a little swim in the summer if you want, do what you please. There's a playground, a little beach area. And then there's also Burnaby Village Museum. There's just a lot of stuff going on here. It shows you a bit of the history of Burnaby, of Vancouver, a bit of a historical place, and just a nice area for families to live in. And of course, like we mentioned already many times, you got your schools close by, and Burnaby has a ton of options for school. And if you're by this Canada Way, which is a pretty big road, if you're by this area, you got Deer Lake to your left, you got Burnaby Lake to your right, so you're kind of sandwiched in between two lakes. If you want to live by the water, but not really that West Van luxury $10 million homes, then maybe you can get a bit of a mock of that over here. And so now we're gonna get into the master plan community that I've been talking about. But right after that, we're gonna move on to Burnaby East, which a lot of people in a way neglect. And I'll tell you a lot of reasons once we get there why I think it's such an amazing area. And there are a ton of special things about the Edmonds area, upcoming changes and stuff. So Burnaby, yes, Burnaby North, Burnaby South, super popular, but Burnaby East shouldn't be forgotten about. So make sure you wait around for that. But for right now, we're gonna be talking about BCIT, which is British Columbia Institute of Technology. A lot of people go here to get different certificates and stuff like that, and they tend to do quite well. This is not the traditional 4-year undergrad. You can get your different certificates and degrees in a year or two, and the master plan community is going to be right across the street from BCIT. So right in this big space over here, it is going to be called Quaston Village, multi-phase master plan community, and it's going to transform this area because like we said, and as you know, Metrotown is such a urbanized area with all these towers, and over here you do have some buildings, but not so much. You're right off the highway. You have a few things going on here. You have a casino there, you have BCIT, but generally speaking, it's not as popular, as big, as busy as if you get into Metrotown. So with Kawasaki Village coming into place, in my mind, what I can think of is just a bit of a Metrotown 2.0. And also, I just thought of this. I'm going to do this for you guys. After we cover Burnaby East, I'm going to put a human onto all three of these sections in Burnaby so you can get a real life look at what it looks like and put yourself in the shoes of the human we're going to drop. So if you want to see what that's like, stick around, and that's what I'm going to do for you guys at the very end. Now that's what I wanted to cover, and I hope you guys enjoy seeing the pictures of this village. It looks absolutely spectacular, and they're going to start pre-selling pretty soon. So if this is a project you're interested in, also don't hesitate to reach out. I will make sure you're the first to know when it does come out and be made available. So now let's move on to the last segment of Burnaby before we drop the human on and show you what it looks like in real life. So now Burnaby East, it's an area that's less talked about by most, and that's probably because you don't have the super hubs like Brentwood, like Metrotown. The Burnaby East area is a little bit more quiet, it's more residential, feels a little bit more suburban. That could be a great draw for a lot of people. Maybe you don't want to be in such a busy area, busy location, but you still love Burnaby in the sense that it's so centralized. This Burnaby East area, specifically what we're going to cover, Edmonds area, is a great fit for that. That's not to say there aren't any buildings and stuff going on here. There definitely are on Kingsway and also close to Edmonds Community Center. There are buildings and stuff, but compared to a lot of the other places, what we've been seeing in this Edmonds area, and a lot of my clients are looking, when they're looking for townhouses, this is an area that stands out because by this Edmonds area, they've been building a lot of townhouses. So for the smaller family that you want more space, you don't want to live in a building, you want to have more of your personal space, more quiet, more peace. Burnaby East offers a lot of those options, and definitely at better prices than Burnaby North and Burnaby South. This intersection on Edmonds and Kingsway, this is a big intersection here, and you do see some buildings and a lot of convenient stuff going on right here as well. You have your Highgate Village Shopping Center, so not so much as big as your Metropolis and Metrotown or your amazing Brentwood, but it is still a very popular, very convenient place for locals to just do their daily shopping, get their daily needs met. They have restaurants, and also if you take Kingsway, all along Kingsway, there's all these food options, which Burnaby South is known for, so we're not gonna keep talking about food. Edmonds Community Center, we're gonna change the view so you can see again. This is a great park. You have, again, a lot of your outdoor needs. And this is a trend that I hope you guys are seeing in Burnaby, is that you get a blend of convenience, you get a blend of more of that downtown living, and you combine that with having easy accessibility to parks and outdoor spaces. So this is that of Burnaby East. You have your tennis pickleball courts area. It was tennis. I think they also have pickleball lines over there, maybe even completely changed over. They have the community center, which has your gym, your swimming, and all the stuff that a community center should have. In general, just a lot of this green space for you to walk around. You have a little playground area, and you do see a lot of parents will take their kids. They have a little water area, so kids will love playing in this region right over here. And if we go a little bit further down, get into this little segment over here, I do want to cover just this last area before we drop the human on there for you guys. So this is Edmonds SkyTrain station. So again, if you're somewhere in this area, you have a lot of that residential living. So if you don't want to be by a high rise, if we take Brentwood, for example, you're living by a high rise right by the SkyTrain station, you get to be close to a SkyTrain station here, but also you can have options of being in townhouses and detached homes, stuff like that. Because right over here in this area, right off of Edmonds Street, you have a lot of options. I'm just gonna point out one specifically, and that is Element. So as you can see on the map, Element 1, Element 2, these are townhouses. It's a townhome project that right now they're releasing the second phase. So Element 1, which completed years ago, a lot of people are living there already. It was a great project, so now they continue that and they're building the second phase of Element, and they're still selling right now. If you're looking for a townhouse, this is one to check out. It's also like we said, not too far from Edmonds SkyTrain station, as well as once you get into the Kingsway Edmonds intersection, you have your daily amenities. So now that we kind of covered all of these areas, I'm gonna drop a human on there so you can get an idea, get a look at what this place actually looks like. So we're gonna start off in the Brentwood area. So if I drop a human onto right over here, this gives you a great view. So that right over there to the right is amazing Brentwood. To the left over here, this is where Brentwood Grove is going to be. And once you go further down on Lougheed, the more you go this way, the more you go into the direction of Coquitlam. As you can see, definitely a lot of towers there as well. There is a luxury high-rise project that's selling right now. It's called Bassano by Bofo, and that's an end user product. It's not your first home kind of deal. A lot of people that are interested in that project, it's an end user product, and it is definitely priced at a premium for that reason. So we're gonna take a little bit of a drive down and drive on this map. So these are towers at Brentwood. If you keep going down, you're getting more and more into the Gilmore area of Burnaby. And as you can see, they're doing construction. This was in 2023, so these are probably done. So a lot of buildings here. And again, you have all your needs. So there's Cactus Club Cafe over there. There's a Club 16 gym. What else? Tim Hortons. Very convenient area. And all these holes in the ground, all these buildings being built, this is still going on right now. Some of these are probably close to done or done, but they're not stopping here. They're continuing to build. So that's more of the downtown look of this Brentwood area. But I'm going to drop the human on one of the streets more up here, so you can see that if you want to just be a few minutes away from the amazing Brentwood and you want more space, you want your single family homes or your duplexes, your townhouses, stuff like that, if you go further up north or east, that's what you're going to get. And these are a little bit of older age, but what you're seeing now is a lot of these places, they're builders that are rebuilding, tearing down the old property and building onto there some new ones. So this is what you're going to see in terms of the neighborhood feel. So there you can see kind of newer houses. What you're not going to get here is the super quiet cul-de-sac family style living. This, yes, you're in an inside street, you're on a quieter street, but you're also probably just a block or two away from a pretty busy street. So you do get your peaceful living, but not in the sense where you're in a super isolated private area that you're gonna get in other suburbs such as Coquitlam, Port Moody, and stuff like that. If that sounds like something that's more fitting for you, then maybe you should look a little bit further east, a little bit more in the suburbs. But this is just an example so you can see what you're gonna get here in Burnaby North. So now we're gonna move on down, zoom out, and show you Burnaby South. We're gonna drop the guy right onto Kingsway, right by Metropolis. So you can see there's Happy Land Pot, there's residential buildings, there's office buildings, there's a little sky bridge that takes you to the other side, and this right here, this is Metropolis. It's absolutely massive. You got more buildings there, a ton of dining options. So this is really just a paradise for a lot of people that, you know, you just want everything close by. You don't want to travel too much. What you're gonna get right over here, you got an underground parking lot, so that gives you a bit of a view. There's your Cineplex. Let me just show you the Deer Lake area. So these are the houses that you can expect closer to that Deer Lake. Similar to Burnaby North, once you get a little bit further away, you can get your detached homes, and these are good sized lots. You get your 3,000-4,000 square feet homes on 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 square foot lots. Yeah, you even have your gated. This looks way bigger than what I just said. This is more probably like 5,000, 6,000 square feet in its interior. So you get some of that luxury living. A lot of people that build their own properties in more of the suburban areas of Burnaby. So that's another nice house right over there. And this, as you can see, once you get into closer to Burnaby East, close to Deer Lake, you get more peace, more quiet, more privacy here compared to the quieter streets of Brentwood, of Metrotown, which they are quieter, but still close to a big road. This, you really do get that privacy over here. And so now I'm gonna show you just the last spot in Burnaby East. And Griffiths Drive right here, this is gonna take you into New Westminster and into Richmond. So that's a pretty big road over here in Burnaby East. And I'll just drop you right here, right at the project we were talking about. And you got a lot of parks nearby, as you can see. But this is, that right there, this is element 1. And this is element 2, which is being built right now. It's pretty much complete. Almost every unit I think of this project is complete. And you're very close, again, like we said, to the SkyTrain station. And if you take a few minute drive, you can get to Byron Creek Park. So we're gonna zoom in and show you a bit of that if we can. So this is actually, it dropped us on a trail, so you can't see everything, but this is what you're gonna see a lot here are these walking trails, paved path, and you just get to breathe in the fresh air. You get a lot of greenery to your left and right. You can take your dogs over here. But Byron Creek Park, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of trails, like we said. There's tennis courts. Unfortunately, we can't completely see, but I think you get the point. And the very last place I'm gonna show you guys before we end off this video is this intersection of Edmonds and Kingsway that we were talking about. There are buildings going all the way down there, and this is the iconic intersection. This is a funky little building here, but it looks pretty cool. You got some more high-rise buildings there. Your community center is back there. And then as you can see, all the first floor, second floor of this little area are retail commercial space. So I'll just drive you down a little bit so you can see. You have your Edmonds Center for Healthy Communities. Interesting. So yeah, there you have it. That is a complete tour of Burnaby, explaining everything on this map for you guys. And I hope you guys enjoyed and learned a thing or two about Burnaby. Now, we covered a lot today, but we also didn't cover everything there is to say about Burnaby. That's just how much there is going on, how big Burnaby is. And so if you want to have a conversation, you're thinking about making a move to Vancouver, Metro Vancouver, from another province, from another country, or maybe you live in Metro Vancouver already and you're looking to make a move, whether you want to upsize, whether you're downsizing, or you're trying to find your first home, whatever the case may be. I am here for any of you that are looking for assistance in buying and selling and investing and relocating to Metro Vancouver, BC. So if that's you, don't hesitate to reach out. I will have all my contact information right up here on the screen as well as down in the description. You know, we have people calling us all the time about helping them with their move. We absolutely love it. We want to make sure you're well taken care of. You don't make the wrong decision and move to a neighborhood that you're going to regret. We want to help you find that community, that neighborhood, the area that's going to be the most ideal fit for you. So like I said, my contact information is up there and down in the description. Don't hesitate to call me, to text me, email me, book a Zoom call with me. Whatever the case may be, I am here for you. I am here to be a resource, to be a service. So go ahead and reach out to me. And thank you guys for sticking around. Hope you enjoyed again. And as always, we will see you in the next video. Peace.